Hi, Susan here. Okay, patrons, we're going to do the final steps of draping the front and back basic bodice on the flat. The truing, correcting, pinning it together, and that's what's next. Here we are ready to true, correct, cut and pin these pieces together. This is the back bodice, this is the front bodice. We need the hip curve, French curve, straight ruler, sharpened pencils, fabric scissors, and pins to do this. Okay, let's get started. Since all these cross marks have been checked on the garment already, we already know that these lengths hopefully are going to be the same and equal and pinned together beautifully. I'm going to start with the darts. The very first thing I'm going to do is on the back dart, I'm going to measure from cross mark to cross mark, and I'm going to take whatever that measurement is, and it's like 1 7/8. I'm going to half it completely with my tape measure, get the actual center, which is less than an inch, put that dot in, because the back dart has a straight line. So I'm going to turn it this way and pull a grain. We're going to go ahead and pull a grain here on this dart, and I'm going to go all the way up to this shoulder level. Turn it back like that, and we are going to leave that alone for now. And we have this dart here as well. That dart, the one that's closest here to the neckline, has to meet that line here as well. So I'm just going to draw a light line like that. Okay? And then here on the bottom, it has to go at least 1 inch below the armhole. At that point, dart will end. So I'm just going to put a light little marking here on that pull line, and I'm going to put in the dart legs. So from that dart point, from the dart point to this cross mark are the dart legs. Here we already have that one dart leg. We know it's going that way. And this dart is generally about 3 inches. So I'm going to put a 3-inch mark like this on that line. It should be on this line itself. And then put the other dart leg in. So from that cross mark to that line. So now we have the 2 darts on the back done. Let's go to the front. Dart or bust level dart. We already have the cross grain pulled, so we have the center of that dart. We're just going to, that is already the center of the dart. We're just going to put in the 2 dart legs. So we're going to take from that cross mark, and we're going to put a light line all the way to the apex. This is the apex. We never go completely to the apex, but we start there. So I'm going to put from this cross mark to the apex like that. This cross mark to the apex like that. We then always want to give space around the bust point or the apex so that it never ends there. I like to go at least 1 inch. So from 1 inch from that apex, I'm going to put a dot, and that's where the actual real dart will end. So I'm going to draw my new lines from that. That's the dart point, from the dart legs to the dart point, and then also on this side, just like that. On the bottom cross marks here, we're going to put a line, okay? Because it's not the same as the back where it has to be straight. It does not. So we're just going to go from apex to dart leg, just like that. Apex to the cross mark for the end of the dart, just like that. Again, this dart should not go all the way to the apex, so we're going to drop it down 1 inch, just like that, in the middle of that dart leg, and then we're going to make now the new dart. So we're just going to go for, that's called a dart point, just like that. And we're going to put in the new dart leg. So we're just going to go from that dart point back here, and then from this dart point here, back here. So now we have all the darts drawn in. We're going to true all these other lines. This I've already lightly put in. From cross mark to cross mark on the side seam, you put that in. The same thing with the front, from cross mark, but we need to have from this cross mark. So I'm going to go from cross mark of the dart to the side seam, just like that. I'm going to do from cross mark to cross mark here as well, just like that. We drop this 1 inch below the arm plate because we never want to have it all the way up underneath the arm plate. We're going to drop this guy 1 inch down here as well. So that's going to be where the new armhole is going to be. We'll take our French curve of where this cross mark is, and I'm going to just move my French curve till it hits most of those spaces, just like that. Once I get that, I'm going to draw in my new armhole. That'll be the back armhole. The front is the same way. It's dropped here. So it's more of a curve. So we're going to put this where that dot is, where that hole is. You see the hole? Just like that. Right there where that drop line is. And we're just going to move the French curve in order to hit most of those dots. Just like that. Once we get that, we now have the armhole. Now we're going to be doing the shoulder line. On the back, it should be a slightly bit curved. So I'm going to use my hip curve and go from cross marks, cross marks, cross mark, and put in that slight curve line there. The front is okay. The other thing that we have to do, let me see, that line isn't thick enough. We're going to go ahead and put that in thicker, just like that. Also, on the center front neckline, you never want it to be all the way at the pit of the neck. I'm going to drop it 1/4 of an inch, just like that. Put a marking, use my French curve, and then make the majority of the dots match here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in that neckline. The back stays the same. It's high up. You're not going to drop the back. Cross mark to cross mark, majority of the curves. Cross mark to cross mark, majority of the curves. So now we have most of those lines in. I'm going to do the waist last. We're going to pin these darts together, and then we're going to go ahead and finish this muslin truing. So you're going to take the leg that's closest to the center back, and you're going to move it to the other side, just like that. And when you have that, you're going to go ahead and put a pin in the same French method I had, where you stab it all the way through and then go up. Okay, and we're going to do that all along each one of these darts. We're going to stab it all the way through and then go up. You want to make these pins about 1/2 of an inch apart. We pin it together. We just poke on all the layers just like that and quickly up, just taking a pinch of all the layers of fabric. Again, we're poking straight all the way down, all the layers, and then quickly up. And we're going to go all the way up this dart and all the other darts, okay? Here with the back, we're going to take the line that's closest to the center back. We're going to move it over to the other side so that the excess of that dart is going towards the center back. Once you have that, you want to, again, take all the layers. Okay, and then go quickly up like that. Take the dart leg that's closest to the center front. We're going to pick that side up and we're going to pull it over to the other side. That forces the excess of the dart to go towards the center front, okay? So now we're going to take that. I'm going to move it over this way, okay? Now we're going to take that portion just like that, and we're going to poke all the way down, all the layers like that, and quickly up. And we're going to do the same thing to this dart leg. I'm just going to use the dart legs to the dart legs, and I'm going to pin this all the way along this dart line. Here we are with the side front dart. All the excess goes towards the center front, but the ones on the sides, they go down. So that means we have to take the bottom part of this dart, move it over to the top. That forces the excess downward. And we're just going to take all the excess, go straight through all the layers just like that, and then quickly up. And we're going to go ahead and pin this dart as well. And I will be right back. Everything is pinned together, and sometimes it's better to pin it together, especially if there's a dart here, because you want to fix that line. See how it's sticking out a little bit? You want it to cup because it's doing the bust like that. But then I'm going to correct it. I'm going to go a little bit further out here, and then I'm going to go over here as well, and I'm going to put the new side seam. I'm going to do that let's do that in red. So we've got the new side seam like this, all the way down. And remember how we dropped it an inch? So we dropped that an inch. After that, we have to go out a half of an inch at that dropped mark, make like a little straight perpendicular line that way, and then that line tip has to go to the waist. And we're going to go ahead and put the new side seam for the front. Here we've already dropped it down 1 inch. We're going to go out a half of an inch, make like a little perpendicular line there as well. And from that point, we're going to go down to nothing on the waist here as well. And the reason why is because we already put that pinch of ease here. We already have this pinch of ease here, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, so now we have that. I want to pin the side seams together before we do the waist, because we're going to do the waist nice little swoop. So, and a half of an inch seam allowance here on the new side seam. Okay, and I'm going to cut out, here is my armhole. I'm going to give a half of an inch seam allowance all the way around this and cut that out as well. Okay, and I will be right back. Now we have to go half of an inch around the armhole for the seam allowance. Just make little perpendicular markings to that curved armhole and just go all the way around like that, all the way up. And then once you have that, you want to cut the side seam, the new side seam here on the front and around the armhole like this, all the way around the armhole. Okay, that's great. So we're going to pin now. This is the front. We're going to move the back, turn back the seam allowance and carry it over to the front, and then pin that on the side seams like this. And then we'll be able to do the waistline properly. So I'm just going to go like that, carry it through. It's on the red line because that is that ease line that we have to have here. And we're going to make that about a half of an inch apart, just pinching the side seam as well. So just all the way down, all the layers, and then up, all the way down, all the layers, and then up, and go all the way to the side seam. I have the side seam pinned now. We have to correct this waistline. Just to let you know, we're going to keep this marking here on the center front. We're going to keep this marking here on the side seam, and we're going to fix this here on the side of the waist. I'm going to try to use whatever ruler works for so far for these markings. So from this marking to this marking, I have this nice curve, and I'm just going to put my hip curve there to fix it. This is more of a sharper curve, and we are a little off, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the majority. So here I'm going to have to drop that down. I'm going to drop it down like that. I'm just going to correct that. So that goes here, and then here is the new waistline. And we're going to finish that waistline here at the center back. I'm just going to continue that line like that. Now that we have that line, we have to add the half of an inch seam allowance to this so we can cut that out. So we're just going to mark half of an inch seam allowance, perpendicular lines to get all this excess out, just like this. All right, all of this excess is going out. Now I'm going to trim that off, just like this. Okay. Now what's left is the shoulder and the neckline. Okay, I'm going to do the neckline first. Remember how we dropped it 1/4 of an inch? The neckline has a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so let's go ahead and put that in. I'm just going to put perpendicular little markings. Put your ruler and go ahead and follow the curve all the way around like that with your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then trim off all that excess like that on the neckline of the front. Let's also do the same thing in the back. We're going to take that curve. We're going to put a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around that curved area, just like that, and trim out the excess, just like that. Okay, now the shoulder together, so I'm going to go ahead again, and I'm going to take the back, and I'm going to carry it to the front, like this. I'm going to put the front straight like that, and I'm going to put the back on it like this. It's a weird angle, it's a little tricky, but let's see if you can see that. And we're going to go ahead and pin again all the way through all the layers and then up. And we're just going to pin the shoulder, and then we'll be able to get this on the dress form to check it. All the layers just like that. And finishing off the shoulder seam like this. All the layers and then up. If you can see that. Okay, here we have it on the dress form, and I have it pinned along the center front, along the center back. It's always pinned at the apex. It's fitting beautifully. It's nice on the waist. You have that excess in order to absorb or to be pinned in or sewn into a skirt. This excess is necessary for the arm, so you can have your sleeve and be able to lift your arm up and down. So we have the basic French draped bodice here. You can transfer this to hard paper for your sloper if you'd like. But anyways, here we are with this lesson. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a comment below. Let me know how you're doing with this. And I will see you in the next lesson next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.